Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessing that we are able to continue our lesson in answering questions that are posed. And we are still in the blessed month of Rabiul Awwal, and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us anyway with His mercy and goodness in dunya and akhirah. Ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. So inshallah, we enter into the first question for today. A questioner asks, Salam alaikum Ustaz, wa alaikum salam. Forgive me if my question will sound very selfish, but I would like to ask if the poor be able to experience a better Jannah than the rich. I am born poor and trying to find a way to be financially stable. The problem is that I tend to encounter people whom look down on me just because they are at a better position than me in terms of financially and position at work. I hate being looked down upon just because I was born poor. I wasn't raised with a parent's guidance, so it took me a while to be well groomed. Finally, now reaching in my early 30s, I'm trying to find my feet. I hate being looked down upon by the wealthy people. I even got rejected by a family whom doesn't want me to be with their daughter just because I'm not wealthy. They say God is fair, God creates people equally. I don't think so. I've seen people who are born disabled and not educated and think why God make them born this way. I believe that their challenge will be even harder than mine. So basically, this particular question is asking that he or she is a he for him. He is a person who is born poor, and there are people who look down on him just because of his financial status. So basically, the question is asking, why is that so? Why there are people who are wealthy and while there are people who are poor? Why there are people who are disabled or people who are born in such a situation? If God is fair, then why would all these things be happening? And the fact that the wealthy people look down on the poor people. Taib. So basically, this is the question. The question is about the fairness of Allah, the fairness of God. If God is fair, why these things are happening? The first thing that we have to understand that life in this world is a test. Life in this world is a test. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created everyone equal. Allah is the one who created everyone equal. Equal in the sense that all of us, we are tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with equality. With equality. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that a person is poor and another person is rich, that the rich person is better than the poor person. It doesn't mean so. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who ordained that. Allah is the one who makes some people poor, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who makes some people rich. And this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who are made poor, Allah is testing them. Do they have the patience? When they are in a state of poverty, for example, or in a state of difficulty, do they turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Likewise, pertaining to the rich people, Allah bless them with wealth, but the wealth is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What do they do with the wealth that Allah gave them? Do they use the wealth to attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do they use the wealth by the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So at the end of the day, the best person or the person who is successful is not a person who is wealthy, or not a person who have a high status in society, but a successful person in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the one who attained the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the commandments, the one who followed the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, no matter whether they are from the poor people or they are from the rich people. So this is an important thing that we have to understand. So again, point number one is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created human beings as a test. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places any human beings in different situations. Some are born poor, some are born disabled, for example, some are born in a state of wealth. But the ultimate test comes pertaining to obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning, if there is a poor person, for example, in a state of poverty, he has patience. For example, he has patience. He understands this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is testing me. And Allah is testing me for my patience. To see whether I have patience or I have no patience in the situation that I am in. So if this particular person has faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala despite the situation of poverty that he is facing, and he show patience while performing the obligations and obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this poor person to Allah is successful. He is successful. Yani every single difficulty that he is facing, he will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all difficulties that he faces. For all difficulties in terms of hunger, difficulties in terms of housing, difficulties in terms of clothes, difficulty in everything. So every difficulty that he faces, he show patience and he asks Allah for his favors and obey Allah in his commandments. This poor person is a successful person. Because at the end of the day, it is the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that determine whether you are successful or not successful, not any your situation. Because situation comes from Allah. Yani Allah is the one who put you in the situation that you are in. But the test comes in faith, in iman to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you possess the faith in Allah and fulfilling the commandments despite you are in that situation, and showing patience when calamity comes. Now this is very very important. So a poor person can be more successful than the rich person. The rich person, for example, yes, Allah bless him with wealth, for example, but if he does not make shukr to Allah for the wealth that Allah gave him, then the wealth becomes a trial for him. The wealth becomes a source of calamity for people. Why? Because they are using the wealth that is given by Allah to commit ma'asiyah, for example. Or they look down on poor people, for example. This is a sin. To look down on poor people just because they are poor, and to feel that you are better than people, and to have this arrogance, and to use the wealth that Allah gave you to commit any acts of disobedience and being away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in reality, it is a calamity for those people. A calamity. The wealth can become a source of calamity. It can be a source of goodness. How can wealth become a source of goodness? When a person use the wealth that Allah bestowed upon him to attain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani by fulfilling the commandments when it comes to wealth, giving nafaqah and sadaqah and zakat and so on and so forth. So here it is important for us to make this differentiation, to understand the purpose of our life, as what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Yani the person who is the most honorable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is atqakum, yani the one who possess the most God consciousness, the one who have faith in Allah, the one who has conviction in Allah, and this conviction drives him to fulfill the commandments and to refrain from the prohibitions, to emulate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All these things comes, makes a person successful in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why Allah said in the Quran, man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha wa huwa mu'min fala nuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyiba. Those who believe in Allah and has amal salih, we will surely give him a good life. And in another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولِ. Those who obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obey the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَقَدْ فَازَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. For verily they have attained a great success from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to the person who is asking this question, do not be worried that you are in a state of difficulty. You are facing, for example, poverty just because you are born into a poor family. You must understand that it is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you, and Allah wants to elevate your status. How can your status be elevated by Allah? By you showing patience and shukr to the gratitude, to the blessings that Allah gave you with. Allah bless you with health. Allah bless you with the eyes to see. Allah bless you with the mind to think. Allah bless you with the food to eat. Allah bless you with water to drink. Think about all this blessings. Think about all this ni'mah. This is any ni'mah ini from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that is incumbent any upon us and to make shukr to the ni'mah of Allah. And pertaining any to the difficulties any that we face, we must understand that it's a test any from Allah. You can be successful any in your situation. How? By you showing patience to the difficulties any that you are facing, and build any connection with Allah. Asking Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala yani for guidance, asking Allah yani for favors. So your situation can be the reason for you to be close to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala if you know how to do it. If you understand the ways, and you understand the means, and you understand any these realities and these principles that the Quran is speaking about, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is telling us. So the poor person will be a person who is successful if he understands this reality and he works towards it. Many of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, most of the Sahaba are poor people. Most of the Sahaba are poor people. Most of the saints of Allah are poor people. We have to remember this. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam loved any poor people. And the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his dua, he said, Allahumma ja'alni miskinan. Imagine. Yani, oh Allah, make me a poor person. This is what the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. Of course, today we do not have any the guts to make any this kind of dua. But our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, look at how he understood that yani to bring in the dunya to tell us that the dunya yani does not mean anything to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in this life. Any dunya is just a test. This is why Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَاضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا كَمَا إِنْ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَأَنزَلْنَاهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ فَاخْتَلَطَ بِهِ نَبَاتُ الْأَرْضِ فَأَصْبَحَ شِيمًا تَذْرُوهُ الرِّيَاحُ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُقْتَدِرًا. Yani, life in its dunya, is water that comes from the sky. It mixes with the vegetation, and after that it becomes barren again. Temporal enjoyment. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُسَوَّمَةِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ وَالْحَرْثِ ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Yani, Allah said that all these things, the wealth and woman, all these entice any human beings. But Allah said this is a test. This is mata'ul hayati dunya. This is a temporal enjoyment. In Jannah is the ultimate success. In Jannah Allah said, Innal ladhina amanu wa amilu salihati lahum jannatu adnin tajri min tahtiha al-anhar khalidina fiha. Allah said that they will dwell in the hereafter forever and ever in the Jannah of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It comes by iman, by amal salih. So do not be tricked by shaitan. The person who asking the question, do not be tricked by shaitan. Yani, seek knowledge, understand this deen, understand this reality, understand this principle. It will make you happy if you understand. If you understand what I'm saying, and you understand in the Islamic foundations pertaining to the test, why Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is testing human beings as such. You look around you, you see people are facing difficulty, people who are wealthy, people who are happy, people who are sad. All this comes as a test from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. This is the thing that we have to. This is the thing that we have to understand. So what you have to do? What you have to do? My brother, is you have to ponder upon this meaning, study about this reality, what Islam is teaching, because at times that we do not know about all these things. That's why we are confused. So the answer to the confusion is to seek knowledge, to understand the test of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Look at the stories in the Quran, how Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala tests prophets and messengers, how Allah tests Nabi Nuh alayhi salam, Nabi Hud alayhi salam, our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Great difficulties that they face, despite they are prophets and messengers. So it doesn't mean that Allah hate them, but Allah love. Sometimes when Allah love someone, Allah tests him with calamities. Allah tests him with this test. So you can be a person who is loved by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, but you must understand what Allah wants from you. You must understand what Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala wants from you, and then once you have understood, then it is time to put things into practice. So inshallah ta'ala, all of us inshallah we will attain the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So I hope it is clear inshallah. Going back into what I mentioned, that God created everyone equal. What is the meaning God created everyone equal? With equal opportunities. That the person who is successful is the person who attains any the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every human being has this capacity. Even if he is a person who is disabled, even if a person is poor or rich, you can be closer to Allah in any situation that Allah place you in. So it doesn't mean the rich are pleased by Allah only. It doesn't mean that the poor are not liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prophets and messengers, a lot of them are poor people. A lot of them are poor. For example, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, is a poor person. Nabi Isa alayhi salam, our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, although wealth came to him, but he chose to become poor. So becoming poor is not a sign that Allah is not being just to you. But at times it can be the reason for you to attain the ultimate success with your situation, if you are patient and you obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the situation that you are in. So I hope that it is clear, inshallah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us with tawfiq. Some parts of the question I did not put here because sometimes it's too long-winded, because time is limited. I just take the first part off, the first part of the questions, because second part is basically just explaining some of these things that he was asking. Jadi jemaah dirahmati Allah, nampaknya masa pun kita agak suntuk ya. Saya nak terjemahkan, tapi tak apalah ya. InsyaAllah kita masuk kepada soalan yang kedua. We go on to the next any question. Okay. So now we will enter the second question. Yeah, this basically the extension of the first question. When you say, I tend to find it unfair if the rich can go to Jannah if they themselves look down on the poor. I don't deserve any to be looked down just because of my financial issues. Now again, and I would like to say, just a bit. About going into Jannah, subhanallah, we do not know who is going into Jannah. It doesn't mean any rich people going to Jannah. Wallahu alam. There are conditions in entering Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, they must believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they make shukr to the ni'mah that Allah bless them. If inshallah they go to Jannah, poor people, and if they are patient, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them enter into Jannah. Jadi insyaAllah kita ambil lagi satu soalan. Soalan yang menanyakan, Assalamualaikum Ustaz, Ustazah, Waalaikumsalam. Baru-baru ini suami ada berkata dia mahu berpisah dengan alasan tidak sefahaman. Tapi saya tidak setuju dengan keputusannya dan saya masih ingin mempertahankan rumahtangga saya. Saya sudah lantik orang ketiga, iaitu famili saya. Dan mereka suruh saya pertimbangkan dan menantikan keputusan dari saya. Tetapi saya tetap juga dengan keputusan saya. Saya ingin minta nasihat Ustazah, adakah patut saya teruskan ataupun bagaimana? Sekian, wassalam. Jadi soalan ini menanyakan seorang isteri, dia mengatakan bahawasanya suaminya ada mengatakan bahawasanya dia mahu menceraikan isteri itu. Suami ini mahu ini menceraikan disebabkan tidak ada kesefahaman. Akan tetapi isteri tidak mahu suami menceraikannya. Maka dia memanggil pihak yang ketiga untuk selesaikan masalah mereka. Dan isteri mengatakan dia tetap dengan pilihannya untuk tidak mahu diceraikan. Keadaan ini seperti ini, mengelakkan perceraian itu adalah sangat digalakkan dalam Islam. Perceraian ini dasar hukumnya adalah makruh, perkara yang tidak disukai oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Kalau sekiranya kita sebagai seorang muslim, kalau sekiranya kita dapat mengkekalkan perkahwinan itu, lebih baik daripada kita melakukan perceraian. Ini adalah perkara yang diketahui di dalam agama kita, dan Nabi hadis Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam ini berkenaan dengan abradul halal. Nabi SAW ini mengatakan perkara yang halal yang tidak disukai oleh Allah Subhanahu wa taala adalah talaq, adalah perceraian. Jadi apa yang dilakukan oleh isteri adalah perkara yang betul. Isteri dia tidak mahu, mungkin disebabkan dia mahu tetap mahu meneruskan perkahwinan dan sebagainya, maka ini adalah perkara yang baik pada hakikatnya. Niatnya baik dan dia mahu suami dia pertimbangkan sebagainya. maka apa yang perlu yang kita melakukan, kita usahakan apa yang kita boleh. Berkenaan dengan kita cari pihak ketiga, itu adalah perkara yang baik. Kita cari yang pihak ketiga daripada keluarga dan cuba yang selesaikan masalahnya. Lihat ini kepada perkara yang mengganggu yang suami, yang menyebabkan dia mahu ini menceraikan, bagaimana dia dapat menukar fikirannya dan bagaimana kita dapat minta maaf ini misalnya kalau kesilapan kita, ataupun kita melakukan apa sahaja yang dapat meredakan keadaan sehingga kan suami insya-Allah taala tidak melafazkan talak. Dan dalam masa yang sama kita berdoa kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala yang ini apa yang terbaik, dan kita berdoa kepada Allah mudah-mudahan Allah Subhanahu wa taala menjaga perkahwinan ini kalau sekiranya dia membawa kepada kebaikan. Sebab kita pun tak mengetahui sama ada dia akan bawa kepada kebaikan ataupun tidak. Kita berdoa kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala supaya Allah menjaga, dan Allah Subhanahu wa taala memberikan ini taufik ini dan hidayah. Tetapi dalam masa yang sama juga kita harus faham, kalau sekiranya suami yang ini tetap ini mahu ini menceraikan, maka sebagai ini seorang isteri kita yakni dalam masa yang sama ini harus ini bersedia dengan ini keputusan kalau sekiranya suami yang ini mahu yang ini melakukannya. Sebab ini dalam bab perkahwinan ini, kalau sekiranya suami ini melafazkan ini cerai, maka penceraian itu tetap ini berlaku walaupun ini isteri yang ini tidak setuju. Jadi bagi pihak isteri, apa yang dibolehkan bagi si isteri yang ini melakukan adalah berdoa kepada Allah dan usahakan supaya dapat diselesaikan ini masalah di antara mereka, di antara yang ini suami dengan isteri. Dan dalam masa yang sama juga kita harus sangka baik kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala dan apa saja ini yang berlaku, jangan ini kita sampai ini kepada tahap ini kekecewaan. Kita sentiasa penting ini untuk kita membina hubungan kita dengan Allah Subhanahu wa taala, sebab ini yang akan memberikan kepada kita bantuan dan yang akan memberikan kepada kita ketenangan di dunia dan akhirat adalah Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Jadi apa saja ini yang berlaku, kita mesti mentally prepared. Mesti mentally prepared. Bagaimana kita nak mentally prepared? Dengan kita membina hubungan kita dengan Allah, dengan kita melaksanakan tanggungjawab kita sebagai seorang isteri, menjaga solat kita misalnya, menjaga kewajipan-kewajipan kita, elakkan daripada melakukan ini perkara-perkara yang bercanggah dengan agama ataupun melakukan maksiat insya-Allah. Kalau kita terjebak dalam maksiat, cepat-cepat ini kita bertaubat dan kita minta ampun kepada Allah, dan sentiasa yang ini dalam solat kita berdoa agar Allah yang ini memberikan kepada kita petunjuk, memberikan kepada kita kebaikan di dunia dan akhirat. InsyaAllah kalau kita sudah melakukan sedemikian dan kita sudah tikad dan kita kepentingan untuk kita membina hubungan dengan Allah, dan kita yakin bahawasanya Allah sahaja yang boleh membantu kita, maka nasihat saya kepada orang yang menanyakan soalan ini, kita tak perlu risau. Kita tak perlu risau. Yakni hidup di dunia ini berapa lama lagi kita boleh hidup? Kalau umur kita misalnya wallahu alam, kalau umur kita mungkin 30 tahun ke ataupun 40 tahun ataupun 50 tahun wallahu alam, kita tak tahu bila kita akan kembali kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Kita kembali kepada Allah, kita tinggalkan segala-galanya. Jadi harus yakni kita apa saja keadaan yang kita menghadapi, harus kita mesti ada kesabaran, harus yakni kita tawajuh kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala, membina hubungan dengan Allah Subhanahu wa taala, sebab pada akhirnya Allah adalah maksud hidup kita. Allah Subhanahu wa taala maksud hidup kita. Kita buat apa yang kita mampu dan kita berdoa kepada Allah dan kita tawakal kepada Allah. Apa yang akan berlaku, dan jangan kecewa daripada rahmat Allah walaupun apa saja yang berlaku, Allah Subhanahu wa taala pasti akan membantu. Jadi insya-Allah para jemaah dirahmati Allah, kita berhenti ini di sini. Bagi mereka nak menanyakan soalan, boleh tanyakan soalan melalui website kami masjidkhalid.org. Cuma kita dah tukar, kita tak menggunakan as ustaz lagi, kita dah tukar as ustaz seperti mana antum lihat dalam logo tadi. Cuma ini nanti kita akan tukar insya-Allah. Jadi apa yang jemaah lihat di sini, soalan boleh ditujukan dan insya-Allah dia akan terus masuk kepada email saya dan saya akan mendapatnya insya-Allah, dan kita akan membincangkan dalam sesi-sesi seperti ini. Jadi itu saja insya-Allah daripada saya. Wassallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.